Tom had only lived in the colony for 6 months. It was a quiet place on a small planet far from Earth. The planet was called Velar 9. It had tall blue trees, soft purple grass, and to suns in the sky. The colony had both humans and aliens. Living together, people were kind here, and life was peaceful. Tom liked his small home. It had 1 bedroom, a small garden, and a nice view of the forest. But the best part, he thought, was the silence. He had come to Velar 9 to escape the noise and busy life of Earth. Here, he could think, read, and enjoy his simple life. His neighbor lived in the house next to his. Her name was Lyra. She was not human. She was from the Varel species. The Varel looked a bit like humans, but had silver blue skin and light-colored hair. Their eyes were large and soft, and they always moved with slow grace. Lyra was quiet, polite, and very calm. She wore long white robes and always greeted Tom with a gentle smile. For the first few months, they only shared short greetings. "Good morning," she would say in her soft voice. "Morning." Tom would reply, smiling. Sometimes she brought him small gifts from her garden, glowing fruits, smooth, colorful stones, or flowers that smelled sweet at night. Tom always thanked her and gave her something back, like earth chocolates or fresh tea leaves. But one week, something changed. One evening, Tom was watering his plants when he noticed a strange light coming from Lyra's house. It wasn't the usual soft glow. It was brighter, almost like her walls were breathing light. A low humming sound came from her home. It wasn't loud, but it made the air feel different. Tom paused and looked toward her window. He saw shadows moving inside, slow and rhythmic. It didn't look like dancing or working. It looked strange. He didn't want to stare, so he went inside. The next morning, Lyra came to his door. She looked the same, but her eyes were shinier. Her smile was warmer than usual. "Good morning, Tom," she said, holding a bowl of soft, glowing berries. "I thought you might like these." Tom smiled. "Thanks, Lyra. They look great." She didn't walk away like before. She stood at his door, looking at him like she was waiting for something. "Are you feeling okay?" Tom asked. "Your house looked different last night." Lyra blinked slowly. "It is the beginning of my season," she said simply. "Your season?" Tom asked, confused. "Yes. Every few years, my body and heart prepare for connection. We call it the joining season. It changes our energy. It's natural." "Oh," Tom said, trying not to sound lost. "So, are you sick? Or is it something else?" "I'm not sick," Lyra said. "But during this time, emotions become stronger. We feel more. We give more. We see more." She looked at him with eyes that held something deeper than usual. Tom cleared his throat. "I see. Well, if you need anything, let me know." "I will," she said softly, and then walked back to her home. That night, the glow from her house was brighter than before. The humming was deeper. Tom tried to read a book, but he kept thinking about her words. Joining season, feel more, give more, see more. He had never heard of this before. The next day, when he went to the small market at the colony center, he asked someone. It was Marrow, an older alien who ran the tea shop. "Hey, Marrow," Tom said. "Can I ask something strange?" Marrow laughed. "Of course, human. What does it mean when a Varel says they're in there?" "Joining season?" Marrow raised his white eyebrows. So your neighbor is Varel?" Tom nodded. Marrow smiled gently. "It is a very personal time. When a Varel enters their season, they begin to seek someone to bond with. It's not just physical. It is emotional, mental, and sometimes permanent." "Permanent?" Tom asked. "Yes," Marrow said. "They choose very carefully. If your neighbor is offering gifts and speaking gently, she may have chosen you. Be kind, but also be clear." Tom felt a strange tightness in his chest. "I didn't mean to give her the wrong idea. I was just being friendly." Marrow nodded. "That is common. But remember, Varel emotions during this time are very deep. They don't pretend." Tom thanked Marrow and walked back home slowly. His mind was full of thoughts. Was Lyra choosing him? Why, he was just a simple human, quiet and plain. When he reached his home, there was another gift at his door. A soft red flower with glowing tips. It smelled like cinnamon, and when a small note was tied to the stem, it read, "For calm thoughts and peaceful dreams." Lyra. Tom stood there, holding the flower, unsure what to do. Part of him felt confused, but another part deep inside felt warm. He placed the flower in a bowl of water and sat on his porch, looking at the stars. Something was changing, something gentle, unexpected, and quiet. He wasn't sure what it was yet, but he knew one thing clearly: his alien neighbor was in mating season. And this was just the beginning. The red glowing flower from Lyra still sat in a small glass bowl near Tom's window. Every night, it gave off a soft scent that made his room feel peaceful. Tom couldn't stop thinking about what Merrill, the old alien shopkeeper, had told him. They choose carefully, not just for company, but for connection. He didn't know how to feel. Lyra was kind, quiet, and respectful, but this wasn't something he had expected. She wasn't just being friendly. She might have been choosing him. That morning, Tom made tea and sat outside. The sky was clear, with both suns rising slowly. The purple grass swayed in the wind, and the forest in the distance shimmered with morning light. As he sipped his tea, he heard soft footsteps. Lyra was walking toward him with a small tray in her hands. She wore a sky blue robe today, with silver threads running through the fabric. Her eyes looked brighter than before. "I made something for you," she said gently. Tom stood up. "Oh, thank you. You didn't have to." "I wanted to," she said, placing the tray on the table. On it was a round fruit pastry, carefully made with bright orange slices and a sweet smell. Tom sat down, and Lyra sat across from him. "I hope you like it," she said. Tom took a bite. It was soft, warm, and sweet. "It's really good," he said. "You made this yourself?" "Yes," she said. Her eyes focused on him. "It is something we prepared during this time." "This time? You mean your season?" he asked carefully. Lyra nodded. "Yes, it is important to give. It shows thought and care in our way. It also says we see someone." Tom looked at her. Her voice was calm, but her words felt deeper. "Lyra, can I ask something? What does it really mean this season?" She tilted her head gently. "For us, every few years, our hearts and minds change. It is part of our nature. We become ready to share more of ourselves with one who makes us feel balanced and safe. During this time, we feel things more strongly. Sounds, colors, emotions. Everything." Tom stayed quiet, listening. Lyra continued. "Some Varels choose a partner from their own kind. Some don't. What matters is connection, trust, and kindness." Tom looked down at his cup. "And how do you know who to choose?" She gave a soft smile. "When we feel at peace near someone, when their presence makes the world seem gentle, that is a sign." Tom's heart beat a little faster. He didn't know what to say, so he finished his tea and tried to change the subject. "You've lived here long." 3 years, she said. "This is my second season since arriving. The first, I stayed alone." "Why?" "I did not feel ready," she said. "But now, I feel differently." She didn't look away when she said that. Tom met her gaze for a moment, then looked at the sky. The 2 suns were higher now. "Lyra," he said, trying to speak gently, "I want to be honest. I didn't know about your season. I didn't understand your gifts or the meaning. I thought you were just being friendly." She nodded. "That is okay. I like your company. You're kind. But I'm not sure if I'm ready for something more. I'm still learning your ways." "I understand," she said softly. "I am not asking for anything now. I only wanted you to know." Tom felt a small weight lift from his chest. He was glad she understood. He didn't want to hurt her, and he didn't want to lie. After a quiet moment, Lyra stood. "I will return home now. Thank you for sharing time." Tom stood too. "Thank you for the pastry, and for telling me." As she walked back to her house, Tom felt a strange mix of feelings. He didn't want to give false hope, but he also didn't want to lose her quiet presence in his life. That evening, he sat near his window again. The red flower glowed softly, as if it had its own heartbeat. He thought about Lyra's words. when someone makes the world seem gentle. He didn't know if he was falling for her, but he knew this. He felt calmer when she was around. He felt seen. Suddenly, there was a soft knock on the door. When Tom opened it, there was no one there, only a small box on the ground. Inside the box were 3 polished stones, each smooth and warm to the touch. One was red, one was pale blue, and one was green. A small note lay beside them: red for warmth, blue for truth, green for peace. You have given me all 3. Tom held the stones in his hand and felt their gentle warmth. He stood at the door for a long time, looking at the stars above. The night was quiet, no humming sounds from Lyra's house tonight, no glowing lights, just silence. But inside Tom, something had begun to stir. He didn't fully understand Lyra's season. He didn't know what would happen next. But he knew this wasn't just about strange alien customs. It was something more honest, something soft. Maybe he wasn't ready to choose, but maybe he was ready to listen. The next few days felt different for Tom. He tried to stay busy watering his garden, reading old books from Earth, and fixing a few tools in his workshop, but his thoughts always returned to one person. Lyra. Her words stayed in his mind like quiet music. She had said she felt safe around him. She had talked about connection, trust, and peace. And then she had left those 3 colored stones with that soft message: red for warmth, blue for truth, green for peace. You have given me all 3. Tom looked at the stones every morning. He placed them on a small shelf near the door. He didn't fully understand the meaning of her gifts, but he knew they weren't just decorations. They came from her heart. Each time he walked past Lyra's house now, he noticed something. She was watching him more, not in a strange way, but gently, like she was waiting for a sign. One afternoon, he returned home from the colony market and found a small basket on his porch. Inside were some rare fruits and a soft cloth wrapped around a hand-carved wooden charm, shaped like a star. He picked it up and smiled. It had tiny markings on the edges. He didn't know what they meant, but the design looked careful, made with love. A folded paper rested beside it. It read, "In my world, we give stars to people who bring light into our days." Tom stood silently for a moment. Then he sat down on the steps and stared out at the forest. The wind moved through the trees, and birds flew across the twin suns. It was a peaceful place, just like Lyra. He didn't know what to do. He had never expected this kind of attention from someone not even on Earth, and now, an alien woman was giving him gifts, kind words, and quiet care. Later that evening, he decided to visit her. He knocked softly on her door. Lyra opened it and looked surprised, but happy. "Tom," she said, "please come in." Her house smelled like sweet flowers and warm spices. A soft yellow light glowed from the walls. The air felt calm and gentle, just like her. He stepped inside and looked around. The shelves were full of small plants, old books, and stones with different colors and shapes. In the center of the room was a round table with 2 cups already placed. "Were you expecting someone?" Tom asked. She smiled. "I was hoping." They sat together in silence for a moment. Then Tom spoke. "Lyra, I want to be honest again." She nodded slowly. "I've never been in this kind of situation before," he said. "Your gifts, your words, they mean something to you, and I don't want to hurt you." "You are not hurting me," she said gently. "I don't know what I feel yet," Tom continued. "But I know this: you're not just being friendly. You care. I see that now." Lyra's smile grew soft. "Yes, I do care." Tom looked at the star-shaped charm she had given him. "Why me?" She tilted her head slightly. "Because you never look at me with fear. Because you speak with patience. Because when I bring you something, you say thank you not just with words, but with your eyes." Tom felt his chest grow warm. Lyra added, "I have met many in this colony, but you are the one I feel quiet with. I do not have to pretend." He didn't know what to say, so he just nodded and took a sip of the warm drink she had poured for him. After a while, he stood up. "I should go, but thank you for everything." Lyra walked with him to the door. Before he left, she placed her hand gently on his arm. "You do not have to rush," she said. The season lasts for many days. We don't choose in a moment. We grow into it. Tom gave her a small smile. I'm learning, slowly, but I am, she nodded. That is enough. As he walked back home, the stars above began to appear, one by one. The sky turned a soft blue, then deep purple. The quiet sounds of the forest filled the air. Tom sat on his porch and held the wooden star in his hand. His heart felt calm. Maybe this wasn't just about her season anymore. Maybe something real was beginning to grow, something honest, peaceful, and unexpected. The next morning, Tom woke up early. The suns were still low in the sky. He looked out the window and saw Lyra sitting on her porch, holding a small cup, watching the sky. He raised his hand and waved. She waved back, and in that small moment, Tom realized something important. She wasn't just his alien neighbor anymore. She was becoming something more. And maybe he was ready to find out what that meant. The days passed quietly. But something inside Tom had started to shift. He woke up earlier than usual. He found himself looking at Lyra's house often. Every time he saw her, he felt a strange peace. Like the world had slowed down. She wasn't pushing him, wasn't asking for anything, but her presence was always near. A calm energy that stayed with him even when she wasn't around. One morning, he decided to invite her for dinner. It was a simple idea, but it felt important. He wanted to understand her better, not just her gifts or her season, but her heart. Tom prepared everything himself. He cooked a soft stew with earth vegetables, warm bread, and a small sweet dish made from the berries she had given him earlier. He placed the plates on the table, lit a soft lantern, and waited. When Lyra arrived, she wore a pale green robe. Her long silver blue hair was tied with a thin silver thread. She looked surprised but smiled when she saw the table. "You made this for me?" she asked softly. "Yes," Tom said. "I wanted to share something from my side too." She sat down, and they began to eat. The air was full of quiet warmth. No rushing, no pressure. Just two people sharing a simple meal. "This is good," Lyra said after the first bite. "The flavors are soft, like a morning breeze." Tom laughed gently. "That's the nicest way anyone's described my cooking." Lyra smiled. "Food is more than taste. It carries feeling." They talked while they ate. Tom told her about his childhood on Earth, about the small house he grew up in, and his favorite quiet places. Lyra listened with interest, asking soft questions, never interrupting. Then she spoke about her world, about the glowing lakes of her home planet, the singing trees, and the family gatherings during the light seasons. She described how families don't always speak much but feel each other deeply. "When we choose someone," she said, "it's not because of how they look or how they speak. We choose based on how they make us feel when they are near." Tom nodded slowly. "That's different from how many humans think." "Different is not bad," Lyra said. "Sometimes different is what we need." After the meal, Tom brought out the cups of warm tea. They sat near the window, watching the twin moons rise in the sky. "Lyra," Tom said quietly, "I've been thinking a lot." She looked at him, her eyes soft and full of light. "I didn't expect this." He said, "Not here, not with you, but the more I'm with you, the more I feel something. You don't have to explain," she whispered. "Feelings speak louder than words." "No, I want to say it," Tom replied. "You've been so kind, so patient. I know you're in your season, and your heart feels more deeply. But I want you to know, I'm not just responding because of that. I feel something real too." Lyra looked down, then smiled. "That means more to me than you know." They sat in silence for a long time. The stars outside twinkled above the trees. Finally, Tom asked, "What happens when the season ends?" Lyra was quiet for a moment. "Some go back to normal life. Some keep the bond they formed. The season only opens the heart. It does not decide the future." "And what do you want?" She turned to him. "I want what feels true. If our bond is only for the season, I will carry it with care. But if it grows beyond this time, then I will welcome it fully." Tom reached for her hand. It was warm and soft. She didn't pull away. "I want to see where this goes," he said. "Not because I feel pushed, but because being near you makes me feel peaceful. And that's rare for me." She looked at him with eyes full of quiet happiness. "Then let us continue, one step at a time." They sat together until the lantern dimmed and the stars filled the sky. From that night on, things between them changed. They spent more time together walking in the forest, cooking meals, watching the night sky. Lyra still left small gifts. Now and then a drawing of a dream, a new flower she found. A quiet song played on a soft instrument from her world. Tom began to understand her more deeply. Her silence wasn't emptiness. It was filled with feeling. Her small actions were full of care. And slowly, something beautiful began to grow between them, not just because of her season, not because of strange rules or traditions, but because two hearts from two different worlds had started to find a shared rhythm. And for Tom, that was the most unexpected and beautiful part of all. Tom walked slowly through the colony square, holding a small woven bag with fresh fruit and bread. The sun was bright overhead, and the colony streets were busy with movement. Today was not an ordinary day. It was the day of the Festival of Bonds. This festival came once every 2 years. It was a tradition shared by many alien races living on Velar 9. It celebrated peace, friendship, and special connections between different beings. The festival was full of colors, music, and quiet rituals. Tom had never been to it before, but this time was different. This time, he had been invited by Lyra. That morning, she had appeared at his door wearing a robe made of soft silver threads. Her hair was tied with small white feathers, and a tiny glowing charm hung from her necklace. "Would you come with me to the festival?" she had asked. Tom had smiled and said yes without thinking. Now, as he walked toward the center stage, he saw Lyra waiting for him under a tall tree decorated with floating lights. Her eyes brightened when she saw him. "You came," she said gently. "I said I would," Tom replied, smiling. They walked side by side toward the main area. Music from different worlds filled the air. Alien children played with glowing bubbles. People wore colorful clothes, danced slowly, and shared food. In the middle of the square was a long line of small tables, each one holding different object stones, flowers, books, wooden carvings, and symbols from many planets. These were gifts of bonding, placed by those who felt a connection with someone. Lyra looked at Tom. "In this festival, we give a symbol to someone special. It doesn't have to mean forever. It only means we choose to share something honest." Tom nodded. "Do you have something for the table?" She opened her hand. Inside was a charm shaped like a teardrop, made of soft crystal. It sparkled in the sun with soft pink and blue colors. "This is from my mother," she said. "She gave it to me when I left my home. She said to give it only when my heart feels safe again." Tom looked at it with quiet respect. "It's beautiful. I want to place it with yours," she said softly. Tom reached into his bag. He had brought something too, though it was much simpler. It was a small wooden token carved in the shape of a tree. On the back, he had written one word. "Peace." "It's not much," he said, "but it means a lot to me." Lyra took it carefully, her fingers gentle. "It means something to me too." Together, they walked to the bonding table and placed both items side by side. A soft light glowed under the table as their gifts touched. It was a sign of a true offering. People nearby clapped softly. A few aliens nodded in approval. Tom felt strange, but also warm inside. He looked at Lyra, and she gave him a soft smile that said everything. As the music continued, the sky slowly changed from bright gold to soft purple. The two suns began to lower, and tiny stars appeared in the sky. Lyra led Tom to a quiet place, behind the garden trees, where a group of people sat in a circle. They were sharing stories of connection. One alien spoke about meeting her human partner on a space station. Another shared a tale of love between two beings from different water worlds. When the stories ended, the group sang a quiet song together. The melody was slow, with voices rising and falling like waves. Tom didn't understand the words, but he closed his eyes and felt the meaning in his heart. After the song, Lyra leaned closer. "Thank you for being here. You didn't have to come, but you did." Tom looked into her soft silver blue eyes. "I wanted to, This feels right. They stayed there under the tree as the night grew deeper. Soft lights floated above the festival, and gentle winds carried the scents of flowers and fresh bread. Lyra turned to him and held out her hand. In her palm was a thin white ribbon. "May I tie this around your wrist?" she asked. Tom gave his hand. She wrapped the ribbon slowly, carefully, making a small knot. "This means trust," she whispered. Then she looked up at him. "You don't have to speak now. Just feel it. If your heart agrees, it will speak in time." Tom nodded. "I may not understand all your ways, but I know how I feel when I'm with you. I feel calm. I feel seen." Lyra's smile glowed in the night. The festival of bonds continued behind them, with laughter, soft music, and warm lights. But Tom and Lyra stayed quietly together, away from the crowd. Two different souls, two different worlds, but something real was forming between them, slow, honest, and full of care. And as the stars watched from above, Tom knew he would always remember this night. The morning after the Festival of Bonds was quiet. Tom sat in his small garden, watching the wind move through the purple grass. He held the soft white ribbon still tied around his wrist. It reminded him of Lyra's words, "This means trust." The night before had been beautiful, simple, soft, and full of meaning. Lyra had shared her charm from her mother. He had shared his carved wooden token. They had placed them side by side as a symbol of connection. But now, Tom felt something deeper inside, a feeling he could not ignore anymore. He knew it was time to decide. It was not just about her season. It was about what was growing between them. He had felt it for days now, in the way Lyra spoke to him, in the way her presence made the world feel quiet, in the way she never pushed, only offered. But could he really move forward with something like this? She was from another world. Her ways were different. Her people felt emotions more deeply, especially during this season. What if it ended and she changed? What if he gave his heart and it didn't last? He closed his eyes and breathed deeply. Then he remembered something she said at dinner that night. "If our bond grows beyond this time, I will welcome it fully." She had not promised anything. She had only told the truth, and maybe that was enough. Tom stood up and looked toward Lyra's home. The morning sun was shining on the roof. Light birds flew across the sky. The air was fresh, and the wind carried a soft smell of her garden flowers. He walked slowly to her door and knocked gently. After a moment, the door opened. Lyra stood there, wearing a soft blue robe. Her silver blue skin glowed faintly in the morning light. "Tom," she said with a soft smile. "Are you well?" "I am," he said. "Can we talk?" She nodded and stepped aside. "Please come." And her house felt warm, as always, peaceful. The charm from the festival sat on a small wooden shelf near the wall. Beside it was his wooden tree token. Seeing them together again made Tom's heart feel calm. Lyra sat down, and Tom sat across from her. "I've been thinking," Tom began. "A lot." Lyra listened, saying nothing. "I've never felt this way before. Not just about someone, but about how things move so quietly with you. You don't force anything. You don't try to control anything. You just give and wait." She nodded slowly. "It is our way." Tom smiled a little. "Maybe it should be everyone's way." Lyra looked at him carefully. "And what do you feel now, Tom?" He took a deep breath. "I feel ready." She blinked gently. "Ready for what?" "To see where this takes us," he said. "Not because of the season, not because of a rule, but because I feel something real with you." It started quietly, but now it feels clear. Lyra's hands folded softly in her lap. Her voice was gentle. "Then I will walk with you, as slow or as fast as you need." Tom reached into his pocket and pulled out something he had made that morning, a new wooden charm, shaped like two leaves touching at the ends. "I carved this today," he said. "In my culture, leaves mean life. Two leaves together means shared life, not a promise, just a beginning." He handed it to her. Lyra took it carefully. Her eyes shimmered, not with tears, but with soft light. She held the charm close and closed her eyes for a moment. Then she looked at him again. "I accept it," she whispered, "and I offer this in return." She reached to her neck and removed the small glowing stone she always wore. "This is from my first season, many years ago. I never gave it away before, but now it feels right." Tom took it slowly. It was smooth and warm, like her voice. He placed it near his heart. No more words were needed. They sat together as the sun moved across the sky. The day outside was bright, but inside their hearts, something even brighter had begun later. They took a walk together in the forest nearby. The trees were tall and blue, with glowing leaves. The wind made soft sounds, and their footsteps made almost no noise on the grass. Tom picked up a small stone and gave it to her. "It's just a stone," he said with a smile. "But you picked it for me," she replied. "So it becomes more." When they returned home, the day had started to fade. The suns were lower now, casting gold and orange light across the sky. Lyra stood at her door. "I will see you tomorrow?" she asked softly. "You'll see me always," Tom replied, and with that, he walked home with peace in his steps and warmth in his chest. He didn't know everything about the future. He didn't have every answer, but he knew one thing clearly now: he had made his choice, and it felt right. A week passed after Tom and Lyra exchanged their symbols of trust. The world around them didn't change, but the world inside them had, each day. They met sometimes for tea, sometimes to walk in the glowing woods, and sometimes just to sit together without speaking. The quiet between them had become a comfort. Tom no longer felt like a visitor on this planet. It had started with curiosity, then confusion, but now he felt rooted, like he belonged not just to the land, but to someone. Lyra's season was near its end. She had explained to Tom a few days earlier that when her kind reached the end of this natural time, their emotions settled. If the bond created during this season was real, it would remain. If it was not, it would gently fade, without hurt or anger. But Lyra had said something that stayed in Tom's heart. "With you, I don't feel the end. I feel a beginning." Tom remembered that line every morning when he woke up and looked at the small glowing stone she had given him. He kept it near his bed, and sometimes he held it before sleeping. One evening, Lyra invited him to her home again, but this time, something felt different. The door was decorated with soft blue flowers, and a warm golden cloth covered the table. Candles made of floating stones hovered gently in the air, giving off a soft light. Tom stepped in and looked around. "Is this for something special?" he asked with a smile. Lyra nodded slowly. "Yes, this is the day my season ends." Tom's heart skipped a beat. Lyra stepped closer. Her eyes were calm. Her voice was steady. "I want to face this end with you, because I believe it's not truly an end." Tom nodded. He stepped closer and gently took her hand. "I'm here," he said simply. They sat together. She gave him a drink made from the blue root plant. It was sweet and calming. They listened to soft music from a tiny orb placed in the corner of the room. Time passed slowly. Neither of them felt the need to speak. The comfort between them was enough. Then, a quiet sound came from Lyra's chest, a soft hum. She placed a hand over her heart. "It's happening," she whispered. Tom didn't move. He just looked at her and waited. Lyra closed her eyes. Her body glowed faintly, not from light, but from peace. Her breathing slowed. The pulse of her kind's inner rhythm, stronger during the season, was now settling. She was returning to her normal state. A few minutes later, the glow faded. She opened her eyes. "I am myself again," she said gently. Tom felt nervous for a moment. "And how do you feel now?" She stood up slowly, walked to the shelf, and picked up the wooden charm he had given her. She held it in both hands, then looked at him. "I feel the same," she said. Tom smiled. The weight in his chest vanished. "I was worried," he said honestly. Lyra nodded. "It is natural to wonder. But I knew, even if the season had not begun, I would have felt the same when I saw you building that wooden fence, offering me tea, or walking beside me without needing to talk." Tom chuckled softly. "It wasn't a very good fence, but it showed care," she replied. They stood together in silence for a long moment. Then, Lyra looked up at him. "There's a tradition among my people," she said. "When a bond survives the season. We plant a tree together, a tree that grows with both our names." Tom smiled. "I like that." So the next morning, they went to a small hill not far from their homes. The soil there was soft and rich. Lyra brought a young sapling with golden leaves. Tom brought a wooden tag with their names carved side by side. Together, they dug a small hole. Together, they placed the tree inside. Together, they pressed the soil gently around it. When they stood up, the wind passed over them, carrying the scent of blossoms. Tom tied the wooden tag to the trunk. Lyra touched the leaves gently. "This tree will grow slowly," she said. "Like trust, like love." Tom nodded. "I'll visit it every day." "As will I," she replied. The two stood side by side, not holding hands, not saying more. But everything between them was clear now. This was not just a story of one season. It was a story of choice, a story of quiet connection, a story of two lives coming together, not through force or fate, but through understanding. From that day on, their lives were joined, not rushed, not loud, but steady and honest. Some people in the colony wondered about them, some whispered, some guessed. But Tom and Lyra never explained. They didn't need to. Their actions spoke enough. Every time someone saw the small tree growing on the hill, they would see two people sitting nearby, sometimes talking, sometimes laughing, sometimes just watching the sky. And every season after that, when the blossoms of the tree turned silver, it reminded the people of something rare. That love, no matter where it begins, can grow quietly, beautifully, and without borders.